Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 50 of the Wheels to Walking podcast, the podcast with a guy in a wheelchair and a guy not in a wheelchair.
Motherfucking 50, what up?
Dude, it's actually kind of insane that we've made it to 50 episodes.
We're halfway to 100.
Yeah, it's crazy when you like scroll through all the episodes of like, oh my gosh, we've done all this. But then it's even crazier when you scroll through the podcast clips channel.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's like 6 or 7 for like, or like 5 or 6 for every episode. So it's like literally hundreds of clips. Like you just scroll through and it's like some of the stuff I don't even remember talking about, but that's kind of how it goes.
It works though, because like there's been times where I'm like, I wonder what did I say? Like I was thinking about like DMing Mike Malak about something, and I was like, I wonder what I said about him. And I was like, Wheels to Walking on Mike Malak, and I like re-listened to it. I'm like, okay, good. I said good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on.
Well,
here.
actually, it's kind of interesting because on podcasts like this, where it's only where it's always the same like host and stuff, it's actually really interesting to have like the description's really accurate and the clips really good because it then becomes a searchable library. Because like, for example, on like Mind Pump, the podcast, I've been curious what they thought about certain things. And so I just go in my podcast app and go into Mind Pump and search for like a topic, and it'll pull all the descriptions that have that in the description.
So what's one of the guys' names?
Sal.
So it'd be like Sal on steroids or something.
Not necessarily that, but I would search like just in my podcast app. I use Podcast Addict, and if I go into the podcast, I can search for an episode name or description or whatever. So I search and I could type in birth control or something, and then all the episodes that they talked about birth control, I can like find that episode and kind of like scrub through because they also have timestamps. And that's why I think it's really important to do that on ours, because then like if you're curious about something that we might have talked about, or you're like, oh, I wonder what Richard thinks about this, you can easily go and like find an area that we talked about it potentially.
On that same note, one of the episodes I talked about Logan, I said like a lot of good things about him, but the thumbnail is like his Suicide Forest thumbnail.
Oh God.
Which is like kind of a dick thing to do. So I'm like, well, maybe we need to just change that to a different picture, but also fuck it. I don't think I'm ever gonna be like hitting up Logan Paul any day.
I know, right?
Yeah. Dude, fucking A, man. Speaking of searchability, if you ever want to know what we think about politics, you can go back
to the last episode.
Not just the last episode,
and a few,
but any episodes, because we are currently putting a ban on all politics talk until probably the election.
Yeah,
when we're going to do our best, obviously, but I think for the most part, y'all motherfuckers come here to hang out with us. You come here to relax. You're enjoying your drives. You're enjoying doing your chores, maybe work, and you want to escape from all the bullshit.
You might care what we think about it, but we're just too stupid to make actually good commentary.
We're pretty stupid.
Last week we fucked some stuff up. I think it was mainly me. We were talking about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's son Beau and all this stuff, and I got a lot of stuff wrong, and I was gonna like issue like some sort of correction, but I almost kind of feel like I'll probably still somehow fuck that up.
You probably would have, because we were talking about it the other day, and you're like, well, actually, the truth is this, and I'm like, I looked into it too, and you're still wrong.
So just do your own research. Sorry for spreading misinformation, fake news, but guess what? This isn't a news podcast, so
and politics.
I don't feel necessarily bad, but at the same time, I do, because it's like, sorry if I misled anyone, but at the same time, we didn't have any fact checkers standing by. And speaking of people standing by, we don't have our beloved
I know, it's
AJ.
sad. So we're not going to hear the sexy, well, actually, guys, what the real thing is that, you know, what will happen is my deep voice shoots.
Actually, movies. Hunter Biden was Willy Wonka's son, and he actually was an Oompa Loompa. So, speaking of Oompa Loompas, you hear about Donald Trump having coronavirus?
Dude, it is impossible to escape politics. No. We need to have a buzzword. We have a safe word. We need to be like, banana cocktails, or like we need to like come like we need to think of like a buzzword to like yell at the other person whenever they're starting to accidentally, because that shit's impossible. Listen, on Facebook, on Instagram, on fucking podcasts, on Imager app, on fucking everything, bro. I was on Instagram, or not Instagram Live, I was on YouTube Live last Sunday. I made pizza, so for all you people that hung out with me, what's up? People in the comments were like fucking talking about politics and shit, and all the other people were like, stop it, no, like we're here to fucking hang out, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, we don't want to be bombarded constantly. We're already bombarded enough. So we're just going to try to keep things light and fun and more about just what we actually care about and stuff, rather than trying to make commentary about politics, because there's already enough of that.
There's enough fucking talking heads. And you know what's even more sad is AJ would have loved this next topic that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
This is like AJ's like thing is
for
like
real,
movies and filmmaking. And, you know, we had this like on a topic 2 weeks ago, and then we didn't do it. And then like a week ago, and we still missed it. But, the only good movie out in theaters right now, don't waste your time on anything else, because 1, they're trash, and 2, most movie studios are saving their quote-unquote good movies. I mean, that was on Disney Plus. That wasn't in the theaters.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That wasn't in theaters. And then, so
I guess that's the only thing,
is Tenet, the movie Tenet. And there might be some spoilers, so if you haven't...
we'll put a timestamp.
Yeah,
I'll put a timestamp.
Skip to the next timestamp or whatever. Or like look down below if you're on YouTube or if you're in your podcast app, and just click the next timestamp. Okay, fucking skip it. But my favorite part of that movie was not knowing what the fuck was going on the whole time.
That was your favorite part?
That was my favorite part. Was like me and Jalila were sitting there, and we were like 30 or 45 minutes, and she leans over. She goes, "Hey, do you have any idea what's going on?" I go, no, I have no fucking clue, but it's still really cool. There were so many.
Why was that your favorite part?
Because in film, or at least in movies, from the movies that I don't understand, there's going to be callbacks. Meaning, like, there was multiple times where, like, scenes didn't finish. Like, there's one scene where Robert Pattinson, like, ran around a corner and, like, ripped a mask off a guy, but ended up not, like, attacking him or killing him, or like nothing happened, and he didn't like tell the other guy that he like caught the guy and ripped his mask off. So I'm like, oh, they're gonna like reference that back later, like for sure. And the whole movie is like probably every, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, one of these like references. Mm-hmm. And it's so weird because like AJ described it perfectly. He's like, the movie is a combination of Inception and like Batman Dark Knight Rises. Like it's like a combination of like,
I'd say, well, yeah.
It's like time travel, or I'm sorry, Dark Knight.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dark Knight a little more than Rises.
Excuse me. I always get Batman Begins and I always get the names mixed up, because Batman Begins might as well be the fucking, that one didn't exist in my book. I like fucking Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. So
really,
Batman Begins relative to Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises was kind of stupid.
I hate Dark Knight Rises.
I'm fine with that one.
It's just. I think the opposite, because I think Dark Knight and Batman Begins are way more believable, and then the Dark Knight Rises, they just like threw logic to the wind, and they're like, there's a spaceship now that he has that can like just fly through the city.
That's the
shit.
One thing that you reference that totally like pulls you out of the whole movie. It's basically like a quadcopter, basically. It's like a little
but that doesn't exist in real life, and it couldn't. And also,
but
like
most of Batman's technology doesn't exist.
But it's believable. You know, like there's his motorcycle, and then the Batmobile. Like there is a real Batmobile that like works. But there is no quadcopter.
You think a Batmobile is gonna like split in half and turn into a motorcycle, and the seat that he was driving in just happens to be the
If you had enough money with R&D, I think you could make it happen.
That's what I'm saying about his
not
his
the quadcopter. That technology doesn't exist.
But man, come on.
Dude, if that technology existed, you don't think the army and military would be flying through skyscrapers with that shit?
Again, it's a movie. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Bruce Wayne got the money, and he got Morgan Freeman, which I forget that character's name. Lucius something.
Oh, Lucius Fox.
Thank you. What up, Lucius? Yeah, but the movie
Titanium dip tri-weave fibers. What kind of cats you talking? What kind of dogs you talking about?
What kind of dogs you talking about? Yeah, so it's the movie is definitely one of those movies. So if you guys have seen Inception, at the very end of the movie when he spins the top and then it wobbles and then it cuts to black and you go, fuck, I gotta watch the whole movie again to know what the hell just happened. That is very similar to Tenet, where
Yo, phone ringing.
Oh, damn it. I forgot to fucking put it on D&D. My bad. But
Forgot to put it on Dungeons and Dragons.
Do not disturb.
God dang it.
But at the end of it, I was like, cool. Just spent like $17 to go see it in this freshly sanitized theater, which it was like me and like Jalila and like 5 other people. I felt more safe in the theater than I did at the restaurant we went to before. Like, but again, safety is relative. Anyway, yeah, I felt the whole time I was like, I have to watch this again because every scene, like even like the final fight scene question mark where it's like, all right, there's the red guys, all right, there's the blue guys, one are going forward in time, one is going backward in time. I'm like, I don't get what's happening. Like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think, for example, you're definitely right about it being like a combination of Inception and The Dark Knight. I think that in some cases it was kind of a flop. Like there were certain things about the movie that I didn't really like that much. It's definitely not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, but it's still really
still
good.
A really good because you can't really go wrong.
Number
with Christopher
one,
Nolan.
The audio mix, in my opinion, was like not good. There were so many times where I had no idea what the fuck people were saying, and not because I like didn't know what was going on. It was because like literally it was like muffled and bad.
Like as the plane was crashing or whatever.
It wasn't even that. It was like half the time they're wearing these mask things, and like I understand that, but it's like still you could capture good audio. Like you like there's just
I think
so many things that were so weird with it, and then the like there was sometimes
I felt that was
where
kind of intentional. Like when they were in reverse time, they kind of made everything kind of sound like this a little bit. Like they almost kind of played with the audio, like the environmental stuff that you can't see to make you recognize that you were in reverse world.
Even when they're walking, no, I agree. I see what you're saying, but there was a lot of times where they weren't in reverse world that it was happening. Like, for example, when the army general guy with the beard was, like, explaining the mission or whatever, like, I could barely understand what he was saying. When he was walking with that Indian lady and they were just talking about stuff, like, I could barely understand what they were saying because the music was mixed way too up. Like, it was just, I don't know if it was I thought it was the theater.
It could have been the theater.
But I've listened to a lot of other reviews of people talking about it, and they also said the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, that's like typical filmmaker thing. Like, oh well, the visuals are too dark. It's like, oh well, you're not watching it on a good enough TV. It's like, well, I shouldn't have to like be watching or listening on like the most expensive thing possible to fully like watch the movie and understand it.
We were having a thumbnail where you made a thumbnail on your computer, and I was like, yeah, that's fire. And when you sent it over to me, and I looked it on my phone and looked it on my computer, I was like, what the fuck just happened? And you're like, you're like, oh, well, Apple's all about True Tones and Samsung's all about, having the brightest colors or whatever it was. And I'm like, and you're like, that's the dilemma is like, if you're watching Game of Thrones on a 720p TV from 2009.
That was like 4 local dimming zones.
Yeah, more than likely it's going to be too dark. But if you watch it on a brand new, 4K LCD or some shit like that, then you're probably going to be able to see it a little bit better. So it's like the editor's dilemma. Do you edit it for the worst thing that's out there, or do you edit it for the best thing that's out there? And
yeah, I mean, it's a constant dilemma, and then you just get into the existential questions of like, well, what is a video? What is a picture? Why, what should you make? Should you calibrate it for true things, or should you calibrate it for the device that most people are going to watch it on? And it's just fucking annoying. Same thing with audio. It's like, with music, do you make songs for someone with like a really good sound system that'll be able to handle it, or do you make it for someone who's going to listen to it on their phone speaker in a Marta on loud?
Why? Why? I had someone do that on the plane I was on when we were flying to LA or Houston. I don't remember. They were like, like a couple rows back and a couple rows to the right, and they were just out loud, just listening to their music out loud, and I can't help but
think, a plane.
Yeah, and I can't think, one, put some fucking headphones in. 2, hey stewardess, take him some fucking headphones. 3, guy.
Well, here's the problem. If you have a brand new iPhone, you don't have a headphone jack.
True. It's like, hey guy, you do know that like the whole plane can hear this, right?
No, I couldn't. Like the plane's loud enough that probably like 5 rows back you couldn't hear it, but you were like 2 rows back, so you definitely could. Because planes are pretty fucking loud.
Yeah,
you got the whole constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Which is nice because then you can't hear people snoring. You can't hear babies crying as much. Like there's definitely some nice
Farts are muffled,
farts are a little bit muffled,
but not the stank. I've accidentally let some deadly ones off in planes before, and I want to like briefly stand up and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Cover your face." But everyone was wearing masks, or they should have been wearing masks. So when I was ripping ass,
yeah. But I mean, you can still smell a dank, lingering fart through a mask.
Dude,
that's for sure.
I fucking the other day I was in the bathroom and it was like I had a pizza somewhere and there was definitely like either a trace of dairy or a trace of onion. Either way, my farts were rancid. Like they were so bad that I could barely handle them, and I can handle all farts. Like to the point where like if someone takes a shit in my bathroom, I almost can't tell because I'm so immune to fucking stink. And I literally was like, I sat down and I was like taking a shit, and Jalila was in there like brushing her teeth or something. I was like, "Hey, you probably want to leave. Like it smells bad." And she was like, "Oh no, it's okay. I want to hang out with you." I go, "All right, whatever you say." And then she goes, "Oh God. Oh dear God. Fuck no. Oh my God. I'm leaving. You got this one on your own." And like walked out of the room, and I was like, "I told you. I fucking warned you. Like I warned you. It was gonna be like acid." Like to your fucking nostrils, and you're trying to be all cute, being like, "Ooh, I just want to stay with my BB while he poops." I'm like, "No, have a fun time, like losing your nostrils."
That's hilarious.
It was just fucking air, dude. God, dude. Sometimes I literally wonder. I'm like, what chemical mixture is happening in my ass right now that is going to, like, everyone loves their own brand to an extent, or everyone can tolerate. They can tolerate their own brand. But when you start getting, at least in my belly, like when you start adding in like all the things I'm allergic to, it's deadly.
I've experienced some of your pretty gnarly ones.
Yes,
And
my heaters. I call them burners because they burn your fucking nostrils.
have you ever heard that bit from Joe Rogan's podcast where Joey Diaz talks about the fart that like made a cheerleader throw up?
No,
dude, go on you. Please do yourself a favor and go on YouTube and just type in Joey Diaz fart story. It is one of the funniest stories ever. Like Tom Segura is there and he's literally crying. He's laughing so hard. It's like one of the funniest stories like. Joey Diaz is one of the funniest people on the planet. Like as far as just being able to tell stories that are, number one, somehow true, and number two, just like so unbelievable that they're just. It's amazing.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking nuts, man. Dude, I was on Spotify the other day, and normally, so like I'm more of a podcast person for the most part. This is why we like making podcasts, because we listen to podcasts, and we want you guys to like have a nice time for 90 minutes. But I was on, is it at the gym or I was just like feeling it, whatever, and I found this playlist. It was like, you know how Spotify recommends playlists? Well, you're not on Spotify, are you?
But I am, but I don't pay for it, so I don't use it that much.
Well, Spotify
I've been using it more recently.
Is mainly if you're a playlist hoe, which I am. And it hit this one. It was like your time capsule. And I'm like, okay, I've listened to this one before, and I didn't really like it because it was playing music from like when I was 15. You know, like I'm not really digging it. Well, it just hit me with a new time capsule, and the time capsule was probably from when I was like 15 to 20. Like it spread out the amount of time capsule-ness. And dude, I'm just having a blast. I'm like listening to old like hip hop music and like old metal and like emo and like, dude, I swear like they listened to what we were saying. Like Spotify like heard what I was talking about when we were making fun of bands or whatever. Like last, and they were like, okay, these are all the things he used to like. So anyway, I found myself on a Slim Shady kick. Like I'm going back and like listening to like all the like the Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP. I'm listening to the other albums that came after it. There's one I forget. It's called like it's a red one, and then the one after it's called Encore.
Yeah, I was gonna say the first, one of them is Encore. There
you go. The Eminem show, Encore, and I'm currently on Relapse, which I remember skipping that one because he did the Triumph the Insult Dog voice too many times. So I'm like listening to it in the car with Jalila, and she knows of Eminem, but has never listened to Eminem before. But she is fucking loving it. Like, she is dying. Like, My Name Is, like, Guilty Conscience.
How has she never heard Eminem?
Like, My Fault, like, Just Don't Give a Fuck, I'm Shady, Bad Meets Evil. Then when in the Marshall Mathers, she was on, like, she loved the Who Knew, The Way I Am, Real Slim Shady. Like, and she's always like, I love Slim Shady, which is crazy because Slim Shady is the most, like, misogynistic, sexist, like, anti-woman, like, he got mommy issues. Like, he hate his baby mama and he hate his mom, but he loves his daughter. It's very weird. And then he's like super pro-gay, but will like call people faggots in the song. And you're like, hey, did you just say like it's okay for a man to marry a man, but then call him a faggot right after? Like, did you just say that, Marshall?
Yeah, but
like,
I feel like
hell?
that was, I mean, what, 15 years ago?
1999.
20 years ago. Fuck,
But
dude.
I remember I
I used to casually say that in like 4th grade. Like,
Yeah,
that's not that offensive back then.
I remember anytime anything like bad would happen in society, if the person who did the bad thing like listened to Marilyn Manson or Eminem, they would always blame Marilyn Manson or Eminem on like, be like, well, there wouldn't have been that school shooting if he wouldn't have been listening to Eminem.
Or if he wasn't playing Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, but what I found interesting is like he was getting a bunch of shit back then in like 1999, but like the whole thing, he's like, fuck it, like I'm like there's so many songs where he's literally like, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want and I do what I say.
The FCC won't let me be, so just let me be me. Just let you see something.
Yeah, that's the song Without Me. But the song that I it's like, oh, what's the name of the fucking song? There's like a couple of songs like I think it's in the Marshall Mathers LP, where it's like The Way I Am and The Real Slim Shady. It's like those are my two like favorite little skits. And I always love how songs, and then he puts in like little skits where he's on the phone with his like manager and his like agent and his like producer and his lawyers, and they're all like, can you stop talking about like killing people and like hurting yourself and like being so anti-women? It's like all this crazy shit. But here we have Jalila, a little Midwest brown girl who like grew up so innocently and naively, and she's just now like experiencing it. Like, it was so funny. There's a song called Ass Like That, which is like literally a song all about ass, and she's like laughing her ass off. She's like, I can't believe this is real. And I'm like, yep. And she's like, I love Slim.
It honestly is kind of crazy.
She's like, I love Slim Shady. I gotta keep listening to this. So now not only am I on a Slim Shady kick, but like somehow Jalila's on a Slim Shady kick, which is so funny because you would not expect her to be into that.
Well, he put out an album like kind of recently, right?
I mean, he's still putting out albums, dude. And it was so funny because she was...
I know, that's what I meant. Like, he just put one out like pretty recently, right?
Yeah, he has one in 2020, 2018, 2017.
So it's not that weird. It's like, oh, how weird. It's like, it's not that weird. He's still pretty relevant.
I guess I mean the older stuff.
Yeah.
But she was asking me...
I mean, he's like one of the best rappers alive. Don't think it's that crazy. I mean, it's like kind of crazy. It's crazier to me that she's never heard of it.
Yeah. I think he's honestly like... Probably like... Everyone's like, yo, so-and-so's the GOAT. I think M is actually like the GOAT.
When I was younger, I used to think Lil Wayne was a GOAT. I do not think that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know who is, man.
I think M will always be, and the reason I say that is like being a white guy. And
I think Flo Rida is the GOAT. I couldn't even say that with a straight face.
Being you know, Flo Rida is just Florida.
Yeah.
Flo Rida, Florida.
Yep.
Jesus fucking Christ. No, you know who's really the GOAT?
It's funny when people don't know
Pitbull. Mr. Worldwide. Mr. 305. Mr. 305. I learned.
Dude, his lyrics are so bad.
My mom loves Pitbull, dude.
Yikes.
If you love Ellen's show, you will also love Pitbull. And we're
I
not
don't know.
we're not talking about Pitbull Rule. We're talking about the bald-headed guy who sings like reggaeton.
Dude, listen to these lyrics. I've got some lyrics that I've already pulled up.
Please read them.
I saw, I came, I conquered, or should I say, I saw, I conquered, I came. They say the Chico on fire, and he no liar. While y'all slipping, he's running the game. Oh my God. That one song, that line is just like amazing.
So bad.
I came, I saw, I saw, I came, I conquered. Or should I say I saw, I conquered, I came.
Giggity.
Hey, no.
Yeah, but I think what makes Eminem the GOAT is because, so he came up in Detroit during the days of battle rapping, and the only way to be a good rapper was to be able to battle other rappers and to diss them so much that they didn't move on to the next round. And if anyone's seen the movie 8 Mile, you kind of know the whole story of, like, you know, the importance of his battle rapping or whatever. But he, even still, like, if you step to M, pretty much everyone in the whole rap world is like, no, don't do it, dude. No. Don't ever talk about Haley. Don't fucking mention him. Don't try to start beef. Like, you will lose.
Didn't Machine Gun Kelly try to battle rap him or something?
And so did
he didn't even like acknowledge it really.
And then so did like Meek Mill, and like so did Drake. No, that was Drake and Meek Mill.
That was Drake and Meek Mill that fought each other.
Anyway, but yeah, and like Eminem.
Hey, rap beefs so dumb.
Yeah, and Eminem has his own radio station and his own record label, and like I don't know, dude. Eminem is one of those people that, like, he's so well respected. And she was asking me, she's like, "Can he say the N-word?" I'm like, no, he's still white. Like,
look at his face.
Like, he's still white. He cannot say that.
I'm sure a lot of people have given him the N-word pass, but nah. He ain't going to do that. Dude, I have another Pitbull lyric for you.
Yes, please. Let's hear it.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. This biggity boy's a diggity dog. Doesn't rhyme. Doesn't make any sense.
The harder they fall. This diggity dog is ready to fall.
It's from the song with Kesha, Timber. He's like, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. This biggity boy's a diggity dog.
It's going down. I'm yelling timber.
You better move.
Yo, why hasn't TikTok gone off on TikTok yet? TikTok on the clock.
Because it's old.
So there's so many old songs right now.
It's not old.
What about that guy on, like, the surfboard who's got, like, the ocean?
Yeah, that's an old song. Like TikTok is, like, too young, but like, because I'd say the average age on TikTok is probably what, like 15.
But the name of the app is called TikTok, and the song
I don't
is called
know.
TikTok.
I don't know.
TikTok.
No one's done it. I mean, I'm sure at some point someone has done the song TikTok on there.
But how can
I'm sure.
But it hasn't gone viral.
I mean, it hasn't gone viral probably just because it's not that great of a song.
Oh, wow.
Or there hasn't been enough of a viral thing that happened with the song, but who knows?
It's true. Dude, so another person got a temporary tattoo.
A permanent temporary tattoo.
Another permanent temporary tattoo.
Which is it's in itself, it's already hilarious that you're getting a permanent tattoo that says temporary.
Yeah.
Which like, truthfully, whenever I saw your temporary tattoo for the first time, I thought it was like an ironic, funny thing.
So if I don't want to explain the story, that's what I tell people it is. They're like, "Oh, what's temporary mean?" I'm like, it's just something funny, like a permanent temporary tattoo. Haha. Like, I've literally had people, like, try to rub it off. I'm like, "Oh, it's my temporary tattoo," and they're like, "Is it real?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's real. It's really temporary." And they'll try to rub it off. And
That's funny.
I'm like, no, it's real. He also got the happiness equals
reality over expectations.
Yeah, which is, like,
pretty dope.
I only talked about that one time in the tour vlog, which honestly, like, we could do again because this place has changed since then.
Yeah, I mean, not that much, but
yeah, I guess you're right. That's true.
Yeah, but shout out to Todd Charles, dude. Freaking A. And he also, it looks like Todd literally created an Instagram, like, just to post that.
Just to post it, yeah. Also, Todd, I saw your DM. I have not gotten back to your DM yet. Well, obviously, I haven't got back to it, but if you're listening, I will reply. I've got, like, 24 or 25 in my secret inbox right now that I just haven't got a chance to reply to yet.
Dude, how nice is it that Instagram lets you put people in a general inbox?
Bruh.
I got a lot of folks in the general inbox.
I don't have many people in there just because I don't mind ignoring people to their face. Like, I'll open up something and be like, close. And then they'll send me something again and I open. I'm like, close. Like, I have no problem, like, letting people know that I saw their shit and I will not reply. Like, I hate to say this, dude, because, like, what's up, disabled fam? But, like, a lot of y'all motherfuckers are weird as shit. And I was actually like, I'm sorry. Like, a lot of you guys are, like, really socially awkward. And, like, honestly,
that's just people, dude. That's not necessarily.
Well, not only is it just people, but I was thinking to myself, like, especially the people that were like born this way, like that have been lifelong disabled people. Like, I was talking to Anas about this actually. I'm like, I wonder if they're weird because they're weird, or if I wonder if they're weird because like society has kind of like pushed them off to the side and like hasn't included them in things, and like they don't get invited to stuff, and they don't have many friends, and they like can't play sports, or like there's.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a mixture, because there's people that are pretty that aren't disabled that are weird as fuck too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but I definitely know your point, because that is like an interesting concept. Like, you know,
I just know that
someone
I get treated very, very differently being a disabled person than I did as an able-bodied person, and luckily I've been able to compensate for that. Like, you know, I got the tattoos and the beard and the muscles, and I smile all the time, and you know, I'm really like I have conversations with people, and I'm not your typical like stereotype disabled guy, but this is in no way to call out any specific disability, but like a lot of individuals with spina bifida, I feel, because they're
not to call it any specific injury, but I'll name one.
No, I will, because like so spina bifida is basically like getting born with a spinal cord injury. Like your spinal cord doesn't form at the very end at the L level. So a lot of people with spina bifida have very similar like mobility as I do.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a lot of like how not only how like society treats them, but also how their family like raises them. Like, I think there's two kind of spina bifida parents. The ones that are like, nah, like I'm gonna push him to be like independent and like go to school and like have friends and like do sports and all this stuff. And then I feel like there's the opposite, which is like, oh, I'm gonna protect and I'm gonna coddle and I'm gonna, you know, like make sure that he never gets hurt and that he's my like special little person, or they're my special little person. And and again, like there's plenty of guys out there that I've
it could also be a mixture of, like you said, you know, sometimes just like naturally having like a disability like makes you somewhat of an outcast, or like somewhat separated from like normal friend groups and things like that.
It really does,
quote unquote normal. So like maybe over time that some of those like things, like you said, is like, oh, these people are weird. It's like maybe that's just a product of that, but maybe also just a product of people being strange. I think it
has to do with just not being included. Like when you become disabled, it is more difficult to be included in things. So therefore, most of the people don't want to go out of their way to make accommodations to include you. You know, they might have a party at their house, and instead of being like, hey man, you want to come to the party at my house? They automatically just decide, oh, well, they can't get in my house because I don't have a ramp, so I'm just not going to invite them to the party. You know, like that's some bullshit. Like I think a lot of people, the people that I think probably know this the most, are the people that have progressive, like
degenerative diseases.
Progressive degenerative, maybe not even diseases, but like progressive degenerative disabilities, where over time they go to like have braces and then have crutches and then they're in a wheelchair, or, you know, they're mixed mobility or whatever. And then they slowly start getting like ostracized from their groups and like not included and like not invited. And like, I know I felt that way when I first got hurt. I had like, probably like, I had a weird thing where I got hurt, and then like tons of people, even like people I'd consider acquaintances, not even friends, like start to like be around me and like hang out with me and want to do stuff with me all the time. And, you know, wanted to go above and beyond and be extra and include me and all this stuff. And then slowly over time, pretty much everyone faded away except for like one or two people.
Yeah.
And then eventually they faded away too, because a lot of our lifestyles didn't really like match up anymore. But again, like I don't, and also I don't necessarily mean weird in a bad way too. Like there's a lot of you fucking weirdos I love you weirdos.
I think the thing you're specifically talking about sometimes is just like social awkwardness, or like not really understanding social cues or something.
Yeah, like if you send, for example, like we were talking about Instagram DMs, like if I send you a message and I like read it and I don't respond yet, it means a couple of things. One, maybe you didn't like ask me a question. Two, maybe I'm just busy right now and can't get back to you. Like three, maybe you should just like try to go find that information on your own. I'm not your fucking Google.
Or four, don't send me The Prisoner of Azkaban, like a whole novel.
Yes, yeah. Don't send me a fucking novel. But either way,
I'm not trying to read a Harry Potter book. I'm trying to casually read DMs.
Yeah, and it's like, just because I like sent you sent me something and I saw it, don't keep sending me shit. Like that's a great way. Dude, there's this There's this one person who honestly, like, they got a cool page. They seem like a cool person, but every time they post on their page, they find it necessary to send me a DM of that post.
Why?
I'm like, okay, just tag me in it. I'll see it. Just tag me in it. And also, once I see it, when you tag me on it, I'll hide it from my profile because it doesn't belong on my profile because I'm not in it, you know? Mm-hmm. But I'm like, if you're looking for likes, like, don't send, like, every time you upload, don't send me that shit. Like, that's, like, it's etiquette, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, like, social media etiquette is who made those rules?
Well, I think it's kind of like you got to just think about it from their perspective. There's not even necessarily like etiquette. There is who made those rules, but at the same time, you just have to think about how would you feel if you got a message that was like 20 million miles long and then you get mad when people don't answer. That'd be like walking up to someone random on the street that you've never met before and then just automatically being like, hey, let me tell you about this one thing, about this one time, blah, 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 talk your ear off for like 20 minutes and you're like, okay, and then you just walk away.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you wouldn't do that to someone in real life. So like,
I got a trick for anyone who gets really, really long DMs. Just scroll down to the bottom and you'll figure out what they want.
Yeah.
Like that, the ask is always at the bottom. Like they have this really long setup that could be this long and at the bottom. So just, I always like scroll to the bottom and reply.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Emails are like that too. Some people, they'll send me like 2-page emails and I'm like, I just can't read this right now.
Do you think, here's an interesting...
I love it. Like, I love when people send me stuff, especially when they send me, like, the things I like to hear is, like, mindset changes, successes, progresses, accomplishments, words of encouragement, like those kind of things. Tattoos. Like, I see everything, y'all. I see all the comments everywhere. I get all the emails. I see everything, but I just don't have time to reply to everything because then I would just be a comment and or email and or DM replying machine, and that I would spend hours and hours and hours and hours just replying to everyone. But there's a select few people that are like my boys, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna reply to all them because, like, we already have an ongoing relationship. And it was never like, I don't know, I like updates and shit. Like, that's the kind of stuff I like.
Yeah.
But if you're just like here to like trauma dump on me or like tell me your whole life story or
trauma dump.
No, seriously, sometimes people will do that. Like, or tell me their whole life story or like, you know, give me every diagnosis. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, get to your point, please. You know?
Yeah. Dude, here's an interesting idea. I feel like there's certain people, like, for example, we all know the kid that's like from your high school that like still hangs around his hometown and like does all the same shit that he did in high school and like thinks Olive Garden is fancy and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, and wears sports jerseys 24/7 and smokes mids.
Wait. Olive Garden's not fancy?
No, it's not.
Endless breadsticks are not fancy?
No.
Next thing you're going to tell me P.F. Chang's ain't fancy, and then you're going to tell me what the Cheesecake Factory ain't fancy.
Then you're going to tell me Applebee's ain't fancy. That's funny. But anyways, we all know like a kid like that where they kind of just get stuck in like a certain time period and they don't realize that like people move on and things change.
You can tell by their fashion.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say.
If they still dress like 1999.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, I feel like some people, like, for example, in like the disabled world, like if they like, you know, get a spinal cord injury, like sometimes people get kind of like frozen in time in that point.
Yes,
because they kind of want to hang on to everything that was like normal before the injury. Almost
that's
like
an interesting perspective.
I want to like grasp back. And then like people move on and they're like, man, people like aren't including me because of this. And it's like, maybe they're not really including you because like they're moving on with their lives and like into different things now and like getting more like quote unquote mature or whatever. And you're kind of like stuck in your like, I don't know, like childhood or like whatever a little bit. Cause there is a time period. A lot of people, it seems like a lot of people get injured and they're like, you know, early 20s or whatever. And that is like a transitionary phase where you're like, maybe your like mom is like finally throwing away all your childhood toys and you're like, no, don't throw away my Legos. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. And you're like, you got to like come to grips with that moment where you're like, fuck, yeah, I guess throw away my like Legos. You know what I mean? Or like sell them or whatever, you know, but there's people like that in regular life that don't have any kind of disability and they probably feel like, you know, outcasts or whatever, but it's because it's like when you get older, you know, you're like a first grader, you can't stay a first grader forever. And it's like man, why aren't the fourth graders hanging out with me? It's like, because you're a fourth grader, but you're still acting like a first grader. You know what I mean?
I think
I don't know.
that is a factor.
It's just a concept.
That's a factor. Also, there's something I want to touch on about being like the local wheelchair guy. But I think another factor is that when you become disabled, and I'm only really talking about spinal cord injuries here, but I think kind of all like your activities change. Like I used to hang out with people when I would go on hikes with them, or I'd used to hang out with people when we'd go rock climbing together, or I'd used to hang out with people when we'd go wakeboarding. It was always like activity-based friendships. And when those activities change, it doesn't mean they weren't your friends. It just means that in the schedule of their week, they don't have a separate hour or two to break out from their regular routine to like come pop in and visit you.
Totally.
Or to like pick you up to take you places. I mean, some people go above and beyond. Some people are really there for you. But I felt very like alone and abandoned, but I think it was mostly because like I wasn't going to the gym and bodybuilding anymore. I wasn't going for runs anymore. Like I wasn't doing all the like the things that I was doing before as an able-bodied, because I was disabled. And like I tried to do those things for a little while and just like couldn't really keep up. And I always felt like I was like holding people back. It was all weird, but I mean, the real thing that I'll dive into all of this is like, get plugged into the community of other wheelchair users. Like if all your friends are leaving you, it's probably not personal and it probably has nothing to do with you. It just does the fact that your lifestyles are different. But go play some adaptive sports. Go hang out with some other wheeler boys. Like go make some friends with dudes in chairs or girls in chairs, because their lifestyles are probably going to match more closely to your lifestyle. Like the idea of like going for a walk and a dinner at a fancy restaurant is like a cool night out. You know, there's more, you're like, oh, cool, let's go do some adaptive sports together. Like the likelihood of you being friends with them. And I used to, the reason why I say this is so important is I did the opposite of that. I really like ostracized myself from the group, and I was like, fuck all y'all. I'm nothing like you. I'm not one of these like losers.
Weirdos.
Yeah, like weirdo losers. Like I'm not like you. And like, unfortunately, that was like, I think one of my gravest mistakes. Like I think if I would have stayed in sports, I think if I would have stayed connected to the community, I probably wouldn't have become isolated and then eventually like get hooked on drugs and shit, because there's no way I could show up to basketball practice high on my pills without someone calling me the fuck out. And, you know, but like I could show up to work high on pills and no one would say shit to me, you know. But I think there's also the trap of being your local wheelchair guy. You know, kind of being in that small town. Like when we were at that skateboard, like the WCMX event, there was like 9 dudes there that had like wheels on the back, spelled with a Z, on the back of their wheelchair. Like we'd be like, yo, check this out. Yo, wheels. And like 9 guys turned around. You're like, local wheelchair guy. Local wheelchair guy goes to meet up and meets other local wheelchair guys.
Realizes his entire identity is literally his wheelchair.
Mass confusion ensues when someone yells, "Hey, wheels!" They all turn around.
Right. Yeah, yeah, it is kind of interesting when you let, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, you're kind of like the local wheelchair guy, and you kind of just like, once you're around like a whole bunch of other wheelchair people, you're like, wait, who am I now?
But I think being the local wheelchair guy is better than, it's better
being
to be
a hermit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's better to be known as the local wheelchair guy than to not be known at all.
Very true.
Like it's better to like be out and about and going to restaurants and bars and activities and, you know, festivals and, you know, like going to, if you're in a small town, you know, like field parties and like the apple cider, you know, weekend, or like go do stuff, you know, like it's better to be the local wheelchair guy than it is to be someone who's like locked up in their own little house with nothing to do, who's like all sad and depressed because, you know, like it's better.
Have you, do you remember that guy, John LaJoy, on YouTube? He made those songs that were like, oh my gosh. Well, he would make like parody songs. Like the most ridiculous one that he had was like, show me your genitals. Your genitals. You remember that?
Show me your genitals.
Your genitals. What?
Show me your genitals.
Your genitalia. No, but he had a song that was called Regular Everyday Normal Guy. And it was like a rap about just being a normal ass dude.
That's great.
It's just, I'm just a regular everyday normal guy. I do my taxes on time, motherfucker. I'm just a regular everyday normal guy. And I go to Applebee's with my family, motherfucker. Like he's just rapping about normal shit. And
That's
it's like
great. I love that.
the everyday, regular, everyday normal
shout out
wheelie
to-
boy.
Shout out to Middle Class Fancy Instagram page.
Dude.
Shout out to Middle.
Yeah.
Okay, Nance and Rand.
Yeah.
Nance and Rand.
The best. But it's like just the regular everyday wheelie boy. I go for pushes on the belt line, motherfucker. Like
I'm just everyday average wheelie boy.
I do transfers when I get to the restaurant, motherfucker. Like just being like making a song about just regular wheelchair shit.
Like I cath every 3-4 hours. I'm a regular everyday wheelie boy.
Every time I pee, I use a catheter, motherfucker. Everything like ends in motherfucker in that song. It's so funny.
That's great. I love that shit.
Yeah, that guy was a big part of my like high school. Like I loved all of his music.
That was like Lonely Island before Lonely Island existed. Like the
kind of, yeah.
on a lazy Sunday, chilling in the straight afternoon, car parting out. We'll just see what he's doing.
Oh my gosh. Yo, Sandberg, what's cracking?
yo, yeah, you thinking what I'm thinking, man? And Narnia, what's happening?
Oh my gosh. I love all of that. Dude,
I slept until like 3 last Sunday, and like when I finally got up, I like started singing that song.
Lazy Sunday, wake up in the late afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the best. I also, speaking of that, SNL is back, and they had some good skits.
Well, I didn't know it went away because I never watch it.
Well, no, it doesn't go away. It's just seasons. Like they do it every week. They can't do it every single week, every week of the year.
Oh,
they
they're
can
not
have
like
a break.
they're not like us. They're not
No,
like us. Where
no.
we do a week
No,
every
no,
week, a video
no.
every week.
Well, we don't do an hour. Well, we do an hour and a half show every week, but they do an hour and a half like skit show with celebrities and musical guests and shit. But
No, I get it.
they had some good skits this week.
Every political season, the skits
Dude,
get
just
better and better.
imagine how like this week alone of political news,
Bro.
like they were just having a field day.
I saw the funniest thing. It was like in the year 2046. Hey man, what's your major? My major is October 1st through 8 of 2020. It's like, man, that sounds kind of broad. Did you major in anything like did you minor in anything more specific? It's like,
That's funny.
like what the fuck is happening? Also, we're stopping right now.
Yeah, we can't talk about politics,
can't
but
talk
we
about
can talk about. First of all, we didn't mention this earlier. If you use Tattoo 30 on the
Oh,
Wheels to
yeah.
Walking merch store, we were going to mention that earlier with the tattoo, talking about people getting the tattoos.
We
But
forgot to do
if
that.
you use the code Tattoo 30, you'll get 30% off the Wheels to Walking merch store. Shop wheelstowalking.com. Excuse me, I have corona.
Also, if you like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, I got this shirt from artist here in Atlanta by the name of Wolf Dog Lives.
Live.
Wolf Dog Lives.
So if you want to Google that, that's Wiped Out Live.
Yeah. His name is Ash Hayner. He's a good dude. He listens to the podcast. What's
What
up,
up?
bro? Thanks.
What up?
Thanks for the gear. It's sexy. Looks good on me.
It does. But speaking of our YouTube channel, I guess that was a terrible transition. But the last video that we did, the Sea Brace vlog,
Speaking of which,
the Sea Brace vlog did really well.
I got a question for you motherfuckers. Why do you like the dumbass videos where I grab a G7X and just like fart around town and don't even do a good job, where I like miss pressing the buttons and I say we're gonna go ahead 1,000 times and like like why do you like the crappy videos with a crappy production where you can't even hear what I'm saying? Listening back to it, I'm in the gym, it's like, cause that makes you larger than like the dun 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 dun. And I'm like, well, squatting.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Crawling
It's pretty neat.
Sea race. Why do you guys like those videos and not the one that we like fly to different states for? Man, I'm pissed.
Here's the problem.
I'm pissed, dude.
Here's the thing. So
One that I just like, yo, I know we were going to think about taking a week off videos this week, but like, hey, I'm going to go like vlog this thing that I'm going to do. Like, it might be worth it. I don't know. Let's see.
literally just like throw together nothing, and then it's just like
Like a couple of fucking turds. Like, we, like, and it's performing like so good.
Well, the thing is, okay, so if we know anything about our videos, is anytime we show like mixed mobility, it always slaps.
Always slaps.
And the fact that the thumbnail is you stepping out of your wheelchair with a little like robot leg, tell me that's not clickbait. Tell me that's not clickbait.
So
it's not clickbait, Andrew. Fuck you.
The first video, we knew mixed mobility slapped, and then we made a part 2 to that, and then we made a part 3 to that, and this is technically our part 4 to that. And then part 5 is coming next week.
Well, like the wheelchair fakers caught, the one we did with Maria, that really wasn't what the video was about that much, but because we wanted to show mixed mobility, and like we did have, that was part of the video. Like it wasn't so clickbait that people are like, the title doesn't match the video necessarily, but it definitely, see, that's the thing about YouTube is... Unfortunately, the title and the thumbnail have to be so good that it compels people to click. And like, unfortunately,
if the thumbnail wouldn't have been that thumbnail and the title would have been like leg workout for mixed mobility paraplegia, like it would have fucking tanked.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, for example, like I danced with Chelsea Hill, and I think it was a different title before, but either way, it's like a cool thumbnail and like whatever.
I auditioned for the Rolettes.
Yeah, but the thing is it requires the viewer to like A, know who the Rolettes are, B, give a fuck, C, know who Chelsea Hill is, C, D, give a fuck. Like there's like so many barriers of people being like, I don't really care.
That video was definitely for people that are into wheelchair social media. Like that video was like, because here's the thing, if you know who I am, you probably definitely know who Chelsea is, and that's because Chelsea's been doing this for way longer than I have. In the same way, like if you know me, you probably know Aaron Fotheringham. You know, like there's certain people that are big on Insta and on YouTube, you know, like that you definitely fucking, that we all know each other, whether we've done collabs yet or not. Like it's kind of a given. So
yeah, it's true.
That video was like my way of being like, I got to do a video with Chelsea Hill.
And see, that's the thing is like we perceive that as like a really dope video, best collab, you know, all this stuff.
I mean, it's
like YouTube be like, and we upload a video on like the shittiest camera that we have with like the worst audio that we have.
Yes.
And like it just,
and you weren't even there. I had to
Richard's filming it himself,
pushing my wheelchair, like holding the fucking camera at the same time. All the shots were static, like where I'm like, let me just mount my gorilla pod to like a pole somewhere.
Honestly, that's fine to me, but I think the thing that's like more Casey Neistat is to like set it up and then do like one really small task, like just rolling by. Like it, you know, it just takes like so much effort, and like there wasn't as much of that. Like it was just
there was a couple of times where I parked.
That is true. That is true.
Put my camera back outside, reversed, pulled
back in. No,
honestly,
that was a good shot. I forgot about that
because I knew I needed to transition. Like, like that's one of the things that like, not only that you hounded me on, but like that Casey taught us is like, do not go from one place and one thing without transitioning with either like a time lapse or with like a series of like actions or like some music, or like you can't just be like in one place, cut, be in the next place. Like you have to take the viewer along with you.
Yeah. I actually wanted to read this tweet from Casey from a couple days ago, that now that you mentioned it. So this was a message he sent, and it said, younger filmmaker wants to help me with videos, and I sent him this note with thoughts on how I approach YouTube filmmaking. And he says, general ideology, I don't like filters, color correction, transitions, digital effects, fancy font treatments, or titles. I think they're cheap and easy, and anyone can download and plug them in. They're not a demonstration of creativity, but something prepackaged and emblematic of a more formal mainstream that like aesthetic that a lot of younger creators see as aspirational. Aspirational because using easy plugins makes their homemade videos look like what's seen on TV.
Yeah.
I use nothing but straight cuts and footage out of the camera. Text is almost always Helvetica, not because I like the look, but because it is the default font. Expressing creativity using the most basic, accessible methods is the hardest thing to do and the purest. Asterisks. The very best steakhouses serve their filet on a plate with nothing else. Shitty franchises cover their steaks in sauce and other shit to distract you from the fact that you're eating dog food.
That is so accurate. Sauce and onions and like, no, you're right though. The best steak I've ever had was like literally
just a steak.
It was like on a wood plate with salt.
The tomahawk steak? Was that the best?
They overcooked that fucking thing. The Wagyu beef I had at the anniversary dinner was the best. You know, I think
Wagyu dude.
You know, I think the problem is with the when I got that tomahawk steak, they said, "How are you doing today?" I said, "Well," and I think
You go very, very well, and they just cook the shit out of it.
Yes. Because I remember thinking, I'm like, this steak is taking like 30 fucking minutes. Like, why is it taking so long to cook a steak? And then I start thinking back.
How are you doing today? And you're like, very, very well. And they're like, medium well? And you're like, no, I'm doing very, very well done.
Well, because I remember thinking, like, why is this shit taking so long? And when it came out, I remember being like, why is this over fucking done?
Oh, that's funny.
And then I remember thinking again, I was like, they never asked me what temperature I wanted. They never asked me. And then I thought about it. They're like, "Hey, welcome to blah, blah, blah barbecue. How are you doing today?" "Well," they're like, "what can I get you?" I'm like, I'll have the tomahawk." And they're like, "Okay, great. Thanks. That'll be $89 or whatever." And then like I paid for it. And then I remember standing outside with Jalila and like 30 minutes went by. I'm like, why is it taking so goddamn long? And I remember I bit into it and it was brown, like all the way through brown. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Hey,
right
I
now?
thought this was red meat, not brown meat.
Brown meat. But it was dry aged, so it like my thought was maybe that like in the 60 days it was inside of the dehumidifier thing that maybe it like turned a different color or something.
That could be true.
I don't know,
nah.
but I remember I looked back at the original video I saw that made me want to go get that tomahawk steak in the first place. And when I saw the video, it was like medium rare. I'm like, oh fuck! They literally did it well done because they asked me like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" Well,
do you think that's why, really, or do you think that they just like?
Why else would that happen? Maybe
I don't know.
because maybe the lady, she was busy and she's like, "I wonder what temperature he said." He said well, and like just typed it into the computer or whatever. Because I'm like, "How you doing today?" I'm like, "Well," instead of being like, "Good."
They just like overhear you talking and and you just say the word "well" and they're like, "Oh, that's what he wants."
I mean,
that's so funny.
I was also asking like 95 questions about all their sides and cross-contamination, if there was like a special place on the grill that they could cook it and blah, 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 because my butthole is a little fucking bitch queen. Ooh, okay.
That needs to be a soundbite. My butthole is being a little baby bitch queen or whatever the fuck you just said.
Okay, so, sorry, speaking of buttholes.
I've actually gotten to have a tomahawk steak too. It was actually not well done, and it was really good.
Fuck, man, that pisses me off.
At Tomorrowland, they had a steakhouse, and they had tomahawk steaks. It was
for those of you that
awesome.
don't know about, it's a ribeye with the bone still in it. Like you get to hold the steak.
It looks like a fucking tomahawk.
Yeah. So I was at the gym yesterday. Let me tell you about some buttholes.
Oh,
and
my favorite topic.
And you know those like leggings that you've definitely been advertised to on Instagram a lot. That are definitely like for girls and like bigger butt girls, and they have and the way the fabric is, it makes it look like there's a little anus.
Yeah, well, I would say it's probably for girls with not bigger butts because it makes it look like a bigger butt.
Okay, so it's like feathered out or whatever.
It's like ruffled in a way that literally like makes it look like
an anus,
butt.
like a butt with a butthole. Like
there's like a point. Yeah, it comes to a point at the anus area.
So I'm there with like a couple of guys, and there's this person over in the corner squatting, and all the guys are like, yo, dude, look at white yoga pants, like holy
Who's
shit.
all the guys?
So it's I literally can't.
Every guy in the gym is like,
so I literally okay, I'm gonna try to remember all their names of all the people.
I don't need the names. I was just saying, is it guys you were working out with? I didn't know if it was like that obvious. So there was like every dude in the gym like stopped their workout, like, yo, look at anus girl.
So it was like this like brown skinned like girl leggings, like doing deep squats, and everyone was like, yo, that's like that's the best ass in the gym. We were like, yo, that's best, good ass. And we were like, dude, nice ass. And then,
hey, nice ass.
I mean, but we were just like, holy crap. So of course we're not gonna go up and talk to this person, and they're far enough away that like this person also has short hair, but not like manly short hair, but like short hair enough that be like that could be like an Amber Rose type character.
Yeah.
It was a dude. It was a dude. It was a dude. It was a very gay man. He looked Filipino, like a very gay, like Filipino.
He was very gay, man. He looked Filipino. All Filipinos are gay. We all know that.
No, I'm saying that was like the ethnicity, like a very like was wearing like lip gloss, like we're gay, and like
you got catfished.
It was a phenomenal ass, and even I still say to this day, still a great ass. Doesn't matter if it's on a guy or a girl, great ass. But those leggings,
Like this?
no, like those leggings are made for women. Like I've only ever seen them on women. I've only been advertised to me on Instagram.
Well, why are they made for women?
Okay,
Because dudes have dicks. If you wear leggings that are like not black, you're gonna see the outline of your entire package. Like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, the reason why you don't wear leggings is because you'll literally see all your bits and pieces. A girl can wear leggings because it's all tucked in underneath, and you don't really see much.
Well, I mean, you could see that little
camel toe sometimes, but like you're not seeing an entire outline of what's going down.
You're not seeing the head print.
They're made for women, not because they're made for women. It's made for women because that's what they want to show off as their butt. But like, guys don't wear that.
But we were so deceived. Like this person was squatting really deep, ass to grass, and they were doing like lateral squats, so like their butt cheeks were like moving in a certain kind of way. And literally, one of the guys I was with was like, "Dude, those gotta be implants, man. Those aren't even real." Like, and it was a guy. It was definitely a man who was there with his band, sure. Like, but it was just it. It literally, like, I was like, this can't be real.
Dude, I'm trying to find this picture. I cannot find it. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Oh, God.
I'm putting it on the screen.
That style. Fucking butt.
So for people that are just listening, it's like a picture of these leggings, and it looks like you're going into hyperspace, and there's like a picture.
Yeah, you're like Star Wars, like that's Spaceballs, I think.
No, that's Chewie and Han Solo.
Yeah,
they're going into hyperspace. Ready, Chewie? Anyways, so you were going into hyperspace in this gay dude's butt, and then it turned out to be a dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's nice. No, dude, the other day, oh my gosh, I did this to AJ actually. Here, I'll pull this picture up.
Whoa, so, excuse me.
I did a similar a similar thing to AJ. I pulled up on James Charles's Instagram. There was this picture of him with this like pink wig on, and oh no, it wasn't on James Charles. It wasn't James Charles. It was this dude that we know that we knew him from a long time ago, and then recently came out as like gay and has been like dyeing his hair and stuff. Anyways, won't go into specifics.
Is this the person who transitioned?
No, but anyways, so basically from the back, I was like, "Yo, check out this girl's hair, isn't it hot?" And then he was like, "Yeah," "Oh yeah," and then I'm like, "Oh cool," because it's this guy, and he's like, "Oh no." And it was so funny because I like got him, and I tried to do it to his friend, and he's like, "Wait, what was going on?" What he picked up on it, but I got AJ pretty good. It was pretty funny on that. But anyways, yeah. So that's funny. So wait, what did you guys do after you realized that it was the dude?
Well, I mean, I still thought it was a great ass, but like all the other guys were like, "Oh damn it, man! Like I'm not gay. Like why did I look at that ass?" And I'm like, looking at an ass doesn't mean you're gay. I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's on a guy or a girl. Like that's still a great ass. Like it's still that is a quality butt. Like it's a
quality piece of meat.
Yeah, and it's like turns out it was on a guy, so like you're not gonna get any. So whatever. Yeah. Yo, but I've been like, I've been always complaining about like, well, not complaining, but even in like my videos and stuff, like my workouts have been kind of crap recently. So I've been needing, unfortunately or fortunately, to kind of like bring someone with me or go with someone. So I've been going with Anas because he's been working out a lot recently, but been kind of annoyed at his partners because his partners like show up late.
His partners always show up with these weird leggings on.
Yeah. They'll either show up late or they'll be dicking around or they're always just trying to talk to girls or like whatever. And Anas is like, "Bro, I'm here to work out." So like,
hey, the gym, don't talk to girls.
Yeah. So
doesn't work.
So he and I have been like working out a lot together. And then like last night he brought like 3 of his fucking friends. And then like another one came later. So it was like 5 of us at one point and then like 6. And so basically,
it's so middle school. I feel like the only group, like when there's like when there's like a group of like 5 guys like working out, they're always in like high school. Well, or middle school
like
or
it was so funny. So it's like me, the white guy, and like Anas is like from a Syrian like Arab background, and there's like 2 Bengali dudes and like an Indian dude, and like I'm just like in a sea of brown guys, and I'm like, okay, like let's fucking go, let's work out. So what ended up happening is like me and Anas just basically like started supersetting, right? So like I would do like lateral raises and then, you know, like a close grip row, and then Anas would do, you know, the lateral raise and the close grip row, and then like the next person it was like Ishan, let's go. Like, and he'd go, and it's like,
roll call, Ishan, it's your turn. Wrap it out.
And they'd be like, come on, Farshid, you're up. And then like Farshid's brother, who I don't even know his name, and then like Ashif came later, and then Saeed came later. So many, like, I get mad at myself for not remembering all their names because they have like ish in them. Like Ishan, Farshid, Ashif. I'm like,
you're like, shit.
So I just call them the ishes.
You go, shit.
So everyone with Anas, I'm like, hey bro, are the ishes coming? And he's like, well, two ishes and Saeed is coming. I'm like, all right, cool.
That's funny.
But yeah, there was one.
But you've been getting good workouts or not really?
No, I've been getting good workouts because like, so normally I don't. Recently, when I do bodybuilding style workouts, I don't even sweat. Like even if I push myself hard, but because 1, I was wanting to work out hard. 2, Anas was there, and 3, these other kind of guys were like more newbie than us. I wanted to like, hey, stop standing around and talking. Like work out. Let's go. Let's move. So I was doing, you know, like, you know, anywhere from 10 to 15 reps per superset. And then by the time I was done with I would start coaching the other guys like on their form or like their intensity or like helping them figure out what weight works best for them or whatever. But I had a really good workout. And at the end, like I felt accomplished. Like I was sweaty, like my back really fucking hurts today, you know, and it's hard. I mean, you know, like it's easier to make your chest hurt and your shoulders hurt than it is to make your back hurt. Like back,
totally.
like, cause you can't really like contract your back the same way that you can contract your
chest. And you can't
chest.
see it.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing I think for me is like, I think back when I first kind of started lifting, I didn't really care about my back because it was like, like I was mainly in it for the aesthetics and like wanting to like be bigger. I didn't really care about like being stronger per se.
Well, you probably also wanted abs too. Like I think everyone when they first start working out, especially if you're a guy, you're like chicks dig.
No,
abs.
I didn't care about abs. I already had abs.
abs.
I wanted like pecs. Like I was like very like skinny. Like I
mean, shoulders, chest, and back are the new abs. Like most girls like they're fine with a little bit of a belly. It's just if you got like big boulder shoulders and pecs and nice lats and stuff.
Dude, the hardest thing about abs is that like you just gotta have low body fat. Like,
yeah, people are like,
you can.
What do I do to grow my abs? And it's like, don't worry about growing your abs. Just start losing.
They just need to
fat.
show.
Yeah, you just have to show them. Everyone has a 6-pack underneath their fat. Like it's just like everyone does. Like the way the abdominal muscles are. It's like,
dude, speaking of abs, I gotta show you this video. Holy shit.
What the fuck? Don't let that music demonetize us.
Oh yeah, good call. It's a slowed down and reverbed version anyways, but yeah. It's basically this dude. If you're just just listening,
so he's got the vacuum pose, which is impressive. Like the
where you suck in your belly completely.
But like
basically,
when he like opens and closes it,
he's literally like opening and closing his abs. Like I don't understand.
I mean, look at how multi-jointed he is. Though he probably,
but either way, that's not even joints. That's his abs that are like just doing the weirdest move.
He probably has like EDS, HEDS, and doesn't even know it. Like he probably
hypermobility. I mean, but dude,
well, it has to do with your cartilage.
But either way, like, have you ever seen like the bone breaker dancers? Like that's what he's doing. You know, he's like doing the very dislocated dances.
I can't.
It's so weird. I don't understand how it's
his nipples
happening.
look like eyeballs, and it looks like
his abs are like talking,
like a sideways mouth.
If you're just listening to this, you'll have to go watch the video for a second because this is like the most weirdest thing ever.
And he like twists his arm around in like a lot of circles that I feel like would rip someone's arm off.
Yeah, but anyways, it was very, very odd.
That makes me uncomfortable. I don't like.
Yeah. I gotta make a note to put that in.
Yeah, the leanest I've ever been was probably like between 4 and 6 body fat, and I was on so many steroids, y'all. And I was on growth hormone and testosterone and Anavar and something else. I don't even remember. Like I was on like 3 or 4 compounds, and also I had a coach, and also I was tracking my macros. Like I was basically trying to be like a bodybuilder. Like I'm gonna try to pull up pull it
Do you
up.
think you'll ever do like a bodybuilding show?
No, I don't give a fuck, man. That's I don't want to go through 3 to 4 months of torture just because like I'm just not interested in that kind of like for the people that do it, like congratulations, you're badasses. But I have no desire. I mean, here you go. Here's a picture like that to the right, like I was straight looking like looking like an alien.
I knew you then.
Yeah. And like I
remember
I like had veins like in my abs and from pushing the
like when I first met you, you were like
kind of close
shredded.
to that, yeah. And then if you look over here, like the serratus muscles, that's from pushing the wheelchair. Since I have like my core muscles, like when I push the wheelchair, especially when I'm like going up a hill or something, if I lean forward, I'm kind of like doing a crunch. So like the center ones aren't that great, but it's these side ones that like
your obliques are fucking crazy.
Yeah, and then you can even see my implant. You can even see like the like down there.
Dude, speaking of that, we know this one chick at the gym who
Juliana,
you can
dude.
see her you can see her fucking birth control implant in her arm.
Yeah, so
that's how lean she is right now.
She's literally like she's dick skin thin. She is literally like her whole body her skin is as thin as dick skin. And like when she does a front double bicep, you see this little like bar thing like in her arm, and you're like, oh,
bro, I'm trying to be dick skin thin, bro.
Wow.
That's so funny.
I'm burping bad. I feel like,
well, maybe it's because you're drinking carbonated drinks the whole time.
I normally, you
dumbass.
know what it does? It's LaCroix. Remember when we used to do the old behind the scenes podcast? Which, by the way, people, if you like this podcast and you've run out of episodes and you want more episodes, go on Patreon, sign up for any tier.
It's like $1.
$1 one's out now. There's
just kidding. $2.
$2. Ooh.
Wow. Fucking
damn. Fucking
30 cents a day, or no, it's less than that. Whatever. I can't do math.
Then and then there's like 43 episodes of us like doing podcasts like in bedrooms at Airbnbs when we were on trips and shit.
We were tripping balls.
Yeah.
I mean, we were doing trips. I mean, what?
Whatever.
It's
but
6 cents a day. God damn it.
For only 6 cents a day, you can support.
It doesn't that make sense?
I mean, it makes 6 cents.
Haha. I think it's like 6.66. So it's 7 cents a day.
Oh my God. Did you say 6.66? It's the sign of the God. Or
sign of the devil.
Yeah. The devil God.
It's a sign of the God, dude.
Oh my God.
As 999 is the sign of the God.
Should I talk about my Juice WRLD dream? That was interesting. So
you should.
So for whatever reason, me and Andrew and AJ were in a grocery store in LA. The reason why we were in the grocery store is because all three of us were hanging out at Ethan and Ela's house.
From H3H3.
From H3 Podcast. And the reason why we were there is we were to meet Theodore. We went there to meet Theodore, which is their son. So we were hanging out with Teddy. The reason why Teddy Fresh exists, or the other way around. I think Teddy Fresh, the name existed before Theodore existed, and then they were like, well, let's just name him Teddy Theodore. And then I think Ethan and Ela were like in the car or something. I don't remember. And we were hanging out. And so me and you and AJ were like walking around Ralph's or some shit. Like, and
we were in Gelson's.
No, we were in Erewhon.
Then we were in HEB. No, I'm just kidding. That was in Texas.
And all of a sudden we see Juice, and AJ like starts crying. Like AJ starts straight crying.
You saw Juice WRLD in the grocery store?
Juice WRLD was alive. And AJ was like, "Oh my God, bro, everyone thought you died. Like I'm crying." Like and I was of course I was like, "It's conspiracy theory, bro. I knew it was a conspiracy theory. There's no way." Like I started even like, because remember there was that one theory that was like, he put out a tweet like in 2015 that's like, "My goal was to blow up, be successful for a few years, fake my death and disappear." So like AJ saw him and was like, "Oh my God, it's Juice WRLD." And then like you were like, "It's Juice." And I remember being the last guy be like, "Okay, it's Juice. Like I like Juice. Like what's up?"
What happened though?
Don't remember.
Anything else?
Don't remember.
Wait, so you're dreaming though? You never dream.
You know why I'm dreaming?
You having good sleep?
No, I'm on melatonin now.
Oh.
Yeah, one of the requirements for my sleep doctor. Thanks, Dr. Zolti. What's up? And also, I saw that comment someone left in the other episode about my sleep apnea. I looked into that, bro, but like, listen to me breathing out my nose right now. You think that is going to help me? I'll suffocate. I'm not taping my mouth shut. I saw that.
Did I tell the story about my dream with Post Malone on the podcast?
No, I don't think so. Let's fucking rip
Okay,
it.
so so a lot of times when I have crazy dreams, I try to write them down afterwards because I know I'm going to forget them.
The second you wake up, yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I wrote in my notes. I'll elaborate after I just finish reading this.
God.
Dream. Hanging out at a music festival and realized Post Malone was in the crowd. We hung with him for a bit, and then this girl walked up, who at first I thought was The Weeknd, but it was just this really hot black girl who crashed her car into the lake because she was drunk and wanted to cool off. Then she did a handstand, and she told me to squeeze her butt.
Yo, have you seen The Weeknd recently?
Yeah, dude, he looked like The Weekday.
The Weeknd looking like the weekday.
Bro, but how funny is that that's what I wrote down?
That's great.
Dude, I was hanging out with Post Malone. It was awesome.
And then some girl let you squeeze her butt.
Yeah. After she crashed her car into a lake.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to cool off.
At a festival.
At a music festival.
Would you prefer a rave girl and say she is your perfect rave girl? Whatever that means to you.
Okay.
Would you rather the rave girl say, you can touch my titties? Or would you rather the rave girl say, you can touch my ass?
What does that even mean?
What would you prefer? You either get titties or ass. No. And
Am I like making out with her?
No. She's like in fishnets and has like pasties and is like wearing a thong. You know what I mean? Like just your typical
This
like.
is the most ridiculous
right,
question.
she's got like green hair that's like braided. You know, like
You said it's my perfect rave girl. Now you're just describing yours.
No, I'm describing just a generic rave girl.
You said it was my perfect one.
Okay, so you're a perfect rave girl. Are you squeezing titties or are you squeezing butt? What are you squeezing?
Wait, well, what's the relationship? Is she just like...
it's just like a rave girl. You're in the crowd. You're like close to the front row. You're all dancing, and she's like, "Hey, you want to touch my tits?" Or she's like, "Hey, want to squeeze my ass?" Like, what are you doing? Are you touching titties or are you touching butt?
Huh.
Dead air. It's quite the dilemma. You only get one. You only get one. Are you touching
I'm only
titties or are
just
you
getting to
touching butt?
squeeze it. Probably titties.
Probably titties.
If I'm just getting to squeeze it.
Okay, well, what else would you be able to do with your hands?
Dude, I don't know.
You gonna jiggle them? You gonna shove your face in them?
I mean, you could slip something in. A finger.
Into the titties?
No, you said I'm only getting to squeeze them. So if I'm only squeezing, then I'm choosing titties. Anyways.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Like what you can do with the butt versus what you can do with the boobs. Squeezing. I guess, yeah. Are you implant guy or no implant guy?
No, I'm 100% no implant guy.
Yeah.
I do not like breast implants.
I remember the first time I felt implant titties. It was a situation where like I worked at a restaurant and some girl like that I worked with was like, "Oh, well, I have fake boobs." And I was like, "Yeah, I've never felt fake boobs before." And she's like, "Well, you can feel mine." And I'm like, "Well, okay, I'm not going to argue that." And I remember I felt them and I'm like, I mean, it feels like a balloon's underneath there. Like it feels like a hard balloon.
Some of them are better than others.
It's like a hard, why am I doing this with my hands? I'm like, and I didn't just be like, and then be done with it. You know, I'm just like, she give me permission. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just remember feeling like it was like a, fake titties look better than they feel. I would say. I think that they visually,
obviously.
visually it's like nice boobs. But when you touch them, you're like, those are kind of hard.
Yeah, I mean, and it depends. Like there's some girls that get breast implants that already have something there, so that when you're kind of just like adding to it, versus some girls have like nothing,
like the bikini
and
model
then like
chicks.
the only thing under there is the implant. So
like the bodybuilder bikini girls.
yeah, the bikiners.
Like the girl with the
but
birth control we were talking about.
The thing about I guess implants for me is that I would just prefer the natural look. Like I don't mind. Like I got nothing against small titties. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm not like ew, gross. Like I actually just prefer it to be natural. Granted though, if a girl I was dating or something had fake boobs, like
Sure,
I
whatever,
wouldn't be
yeah.
mad about it. But it's like I guess like also I'm hyper like aware of like photo editing and like, you know, things like that on social media, so that like when I see like fake boobs, it's just like kind of off-putting sometimes, because it's the thing that you can is like a telltale sign is if you can definitely tell that they're not wearing a bra and there's a line on top.
Yeah.
Because natural boobs will never have they don't just like stick out, and you wouldn't ever get like a cleavage line above like the nipple area. Like you would get
it looks like they're wearing a push-up bra at all times.
Exactly. Because like with a push-up bra, you're squeezing them together, and then you end up getting like this kind of like half circle shape above the area.
Yeah.
But with fake boobs, you kind of like get that all the time. Yeah, and there's just a lot of things that can go wrong. Actually, there's
the
this,
one thing. It's like they're now classifying like breast implants as like a bad thing because people are getting like silicone poisoning. People like the saline is like leaking into their system. Like there's like bacteria involved. Like I've known quite a few people that have gotten their implants taken out, and they're like, dude, I'm so glad I did. Like,
yeah, this chick, she and her husband have a dubstep like group, but recently she did all these posts about it, about how she got her breast implants taken out because it was causing her all these health problems.
Yeah, that's
like a lot of health problems.
I've heard a lot of people like, so a lot of girls will get boobs between the ages of like 18 and 25 or whatever, because they're like, woo, boobs.
I guess just whenever you got the money.
Yeah, and then usually what happens, well, not usually, but by the time you're 30, 35, you start having these like health complications, and they're mysterious. Like you can't figure them out. Like you don't know what's going on with your body, and then come to find out it's the silicone like is like toxic. It's like,
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you're putting you're putting like a foreign object in your body that's not really designed to be there. I mean, you're kind of like the king of that, though. You know, like you're like the Bionic Man. You've got tons of shit that's foreign objects in your body. You know, but it's like all metal.
Yeah. Well, my implant, my AMS implant is plastic.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But it's I don't know what kind of plastic, honestly.
I
never asked.
Well, that's like kind of the weird thing about like human bodies. Like you kind of explained it to me before, where you're like, well, it's just hardware. Like you're just like switching out parts and shit.
For the most part, in a weird way, like the reason why I'm never afraid of surgery or ever afraid of breaking bones or like anything that like bad happens to me is like, I imagine my body the same way I think a mechanic looks at a car. It's like you can swap out fluids and you can change out filters and you can replace parts that are broken. And even if you crash the car, like you can put it back together and make it drivable again. Like that's how I see it. So whenever like a problem arises with me, I'm like, well, let's just use medicine to fix me. You know, it's like, oh, cool, my bladder doesn't work. Cool, let's put an implant there. Oh, my bone is broken. Cool, let's throw some metal in it. Like I'm not ever afraid of like things going wrong. I mean, obviously, I think that's due to modern medicine and the fact that we live in, you know, the age that we do and the scientific advancements that we have. But like for the most part, I'm just like, I'm like, cool, like just swap me out, you know? Like there's certain things obviously that you can't do that with, but for the most part, most issues, I mean, dude, you get a different heart, you get a new liver, you get new kidneys, you can swap out your fucking parts of your bowel, parts of your bladder, like bones break, fix them. Like there's like, I mean, it's pretty much like your brain for the most part, they can't do much work on, and then like certain types of like muscles and fibers, but like need a new knee, got it, you know, like any kind of joints, like for the most part, almost everything is in some context replaceable. So
and even like improvable kind of.
Yeah, and that's why I'm also excited for the next, you know, I don't know, 100 years where our longevity is going to increase based on the scientific advancements. I mean, I think about how cool it would be, like, let's say hypothetically, like this left leg, instead of having a C brace, well, what if we just cut it off and just like permanently installed a robot leg and then connected that robot leg to my brain through some neurotransmitter pathways similar to like Elon Musk's, whatever that thing is called. Neuralink. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't stress about it too much.
Yeah, I think about that a lot because like in some way humans have become this very strange like digital caterpillar that's turning into some sort of butterfly. You know, like we're in this weird cocoon phase where we've created enough technology that we're obviously as humans like becoming something else entirely.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we're like manipulating our bodies and putting technology inside of we've got basically
even like LASIK, that alone is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, the invention of the bifocal was incredible. And then now we can start doing surgery on our eye to fix our eye, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, even crazier, like at this point, I mean, we've got our phones basically attached to us at all times.
Cyborgs, and especially the people that wear like the watches and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like, at what point are we going to realize, oh, well, these dumb, sacks of meat that we've been given are just like not nearly as good as like a robot like leg could be, or because you have a fucked up leg, so it's like, okay, yeah, like just install a robot leg. But what if your robot leg is just way better than a regular leg, and the fact that if it gets like broken or whatever, you can just like replace it?
Yeah.
Like, will there be people in the future that are like literally at a young age, like not decapitating, amputating themselves and shit?
I think there will reach a point where people choose cyborg options because they make you better. Like, I think the first person to get, a hypothetical neural link connected to a set of robotic eyes will be someone who's totally and permanently blind.
Yeah,
but advance that 50 years, what if someone's like, I want to see infrared and have night vision. Bloop, bloop, then they put in new eyes. Like the technology will advance, like, oh, well, how about instead of a pacemaker, how about I just put in like a mechanical heart instead?
Like a fucking Iron Man shit.
Yeah, like it's instead of like like something that's organic that like can fail, or like what we eat changes it. I mean, I even think about like how cool would it be to like not need a stomach or a metabolism anymore, and you just like, you don't even need to eat. You just simply just like inject yourself with like nutrient fluids or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it totally changes what it means to be human, honestly. Like, I feel like there's going to be a split where there's like certain people that choose to keep living as humans and keep like living off the land and just go like almost like towards like caveman type vibes.
Well, I think and
then there'll be people that totally embrace all of the technology and go towards the other way.
Accessibility to the technology is going to be a big factor, like how much money you have, right?
Yeah.
But I also think...
But if we have like socialized medicine, or for example, or if we like decide that it's a natural human right for you to have like bionic legs and shit, and like it becomes subsidized by the government or some shit.
I still think though there's going to be like upgrade culture,
Oh, for sure.
Like the same people that like buy a brand new Corvette C8 and then spend $100,000 making it the fastest one on the market.
Oh yeah.
Like hypothetically, like say you turn 18 and you're now allowed to do bionic stuff. The government's not going to be like, oh yeah, sure, we'll just pay for all your upgrades. Well, the reason why
like it's cool and like impressive to be like super strong or have like muscles is because we know like how much work goes into it. And like, for example, we like big butts and big boobs because we know that it's like hard to like acquire, sort of like a big butt. Like you got to like work for it or whatever, or you were just like genetically blessed with it. But like, for example, if you've got
thing too,
yeah,
like
but
it references
exactly.
It references.
But I'm just saying,
fertility,
let's go back to muscles then. For example, like it's cool to have big muscles because it like means that you like put in the work. It means a lot of things about you. It means your diet is good. It means you're healthy. It means you're you're dedicated. Blah 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 blah. If you can just like replace your arm with like a robot arm, what does that mean about you? It doesn't mean you just got money. And like, could it mean like, you know what I mean? It's almost like it's like when you see a guy driving a Lambo, you're like, oh damn, and then you find out his dad bought it for him. It's like way less impressive. So like it's just not cool after that.
Exactly.
It's like, I wonder if that'll happen with like.
I think at that point the conversation of immortality will be weird, because I think if our technologies have the ability to replace limbs, who's to say that we can't dump our consciousness into a machine? Like, I think even currently right now, like let's say hypothetically I create an AI and this AI analyzes all the data that exists of me on the internet. So
not that hard to conceive.
Right, like let's say an AI, like it gets all my photos, it gets all my text messages, all my social media, I mean quite literally everything, and you give that to a machine learning program that analyzes and figures out who Richard is as an essence and boils it down to code. It could create a personality out of that.
For sure, 100%.
And that personality could potentially be installed into a machine. So it's like...
But at what point does it stop being Richard? Because it's only Richard up to that point.
That point. I don't think... Yeah, exactly. That point. But that's how you could technically live forever. It would be you 2.0.
Have you seen that episode of Black Mirror where you make like they install your conscience like into like a little personal assistant?
That'd be the shit to have two of me.
Yeah, but it's fucked up because the personal assistant still thinks they're the real you. So you're trapped in a tiny little personal assistant doing slave work for the real you.
Oh.
because it's a clone. A clone still thinks that he's like, the clone doesn't realize it's a clone. Like, no, I'm the real me. That's like, you took the consciousness out of me, and now I'm in this thing. Like, it's literally like,
oh, weird.
It's really creepy to think about.
Do you know Black Mirror stopped making episodes because reality?
I think we mentioned this on the podcast.
Reality is currently so fucked that they're like, we can't write this. We can't write stories anymore.
Well, all the ideas that they had have like already become too close to reality that they're like, it isn't even far-fetched enough. Like, it's not crazy enough.
Yeah, like it used to.
It's funny you brought up,
be insane.
It's funny you brought up immortality because I was bringing this up. I just started reading this book called the Immortality Key, and it's all about how
asterisks listening to.
Yeah, listening to. Whoops, I just started playing it. It's called the Immortality Key: The Secret History of the Religion with No Name, and it's basically the hypothesis that like all the ancient religions were like based on this idea of using like psychedelic infused like wine and shit. Like when they would have like, for example, they would have mass or whatever at church, everyone would drink the communion, but the communion was infused with like psychedelic mushrooms. So like everyone would literally trip balls like while they were in this communion, and they would have like a religious experience and like meet God, quote unquote. But like,
wasn't there a theory that
at some point
some people think Jesus was a mushroom? Like,
yeah, there's a book that's called
it's like when you take Jesus into your body. It's like when you eat the mushroom.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, it's a really interesting book. I just started it, honestly, but I listened to a podcast where the author was talking about it. It's very fascinating because it's basically like for centuries, like cave writings and stuff were like, you know, really boring and just like stupid. And then there was like at some point where like across the world, everyone started kind of like drawing the same shit and like upgrading like their art and everything. And it's like probably because as humans we discovered like psychedelics. Yeah. Like, and some people even hypothesize that aliens came down and showed us how to make them or use them or whatever. Which honestly isn't that crazy to think about. But anyways, the point being, it was interesting because there's
psychedelics like evolved.
Yeah, true.
Like,
for sure.
That could be like when a type of mushroom like
started growing in the earth. Yeah. But anyways, there's a part in it where they're talking about the like at Johns Hopkins, there was like these LSD trials that they did a long time ago.
Yeah.
And like, I think it was like 9 out of 10 people that did the study said that their trip or whatever was like one of, if not the most, it was in the top 5, if not the number 1 most profound experience of their entire life when they did it. Yeah. And so this author was like, holy shit, that's like crazy to think about, that these people who like were doing this trial.
They can induce a profound experience.
Yeah, and one of the craziest parts was they were talking about how like they experience like ego death, where you're like, you're only in your head.
I want that so bad. Like I got an ego that's crazy.
And the thing about ego is like, ego is basically everything that relates to your name. Right? Everything that you think of as Richard.
Or I.
Yeah. Or because like everything that is Richard is like ego, you know?
Yeah.
Because you build it up like Richard is the body.
It's the id.
Because without your body, are you still Richard? Without your like, is your consciousness Richard? Is your brain like, you know? And then that's how they actually, a lot of people that were doing these trials were after that, they're like not afraid of death because they're like, I know what it's like now to like not be in a body and like feel like a, you know, whatever. Anyways, it was really interesting. And there's like this ancient Greek saying that's like, if you die before you die, you won't die when you die. Like you won't be afraid of death, because if you have like true like ego death before you die, you'll die before you die. If you die before you die, you won't die when you die.
That's cool.
Anyways, we're over time. On that note,
we didn't have AJ to be like waving us down from behind.
Know, right?
We're like, guys, you're 2 minutes and 29 past. Hurry. Don't be distracted by me waving my arms, being like, wrap it up.
Anyways, follow us on places.
Bye.
See ya.
Good.
I guess I got to stop it.
Good show, gentlemen. Good show.